All right, what's up, everybody? This is Carlos, DJ producer CCM, broadcasting live from the Jersey Shore. Very, very interesting week. Just so you know, we are experiencing some some very nasty thunderstorms around our area. So if we lose power, we'll be sure to try to reconnect as soon as possible. There has been a lot of power outages in our area. I am sending a shout out to all my peoples right here on the Ocean County in the New Jersey area, Monmouth County, all the areas that have been affected. I know trees have come down, they have broken um, roofs of homes, they have fallen on vehicles, on cars, and it's not good. So stay inside. I hope you're safe, and we're hoping that we don't lose power. Again, if we do end up losing power, we will go ahead and try to rebroadcast this, obviously. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going on my eighth episode number eight, baby, right here. And tonight I will be featuring my interview with Jersey Shore superstar Roger Mathews. Join my podcast in an exclusive interview. We're going to be talking about um, his new podcast that he is joined with Frankie Edgar. It's called Champ and the Tramp. It's a very, very cool podcast. Them two cats get together and they just bro out and they just talk about a lot of different things. Very good guests that they have in there. And I am a supporter, a watcher, and definitely of their podcast is very, very nice. That's Frankie Edgar and Roger Mathews. We'll also be talking a little bit about his background. We'll be talking a little bit about um, his relationship as far as co-parenting goes with Jenny Farley, JWOW, his ex-wife, and how they co-parenting, how good of a job they're doing bringing up their kids. And overall, it's going to be a very, very nice interview. But right before I do that, just want to let you know that our regular programming is on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. broadcasting live here on Facebook Live from one of my DJ pages. This is the DJ Producer CCM podcast. And again, Tuesday nights is a regular programming schedule, but we stood in solidarity yesterday as a Tuesday blackout. A lot of the leader of the industry, executives of the music industry and other artists and other major labels, and a lot of the people in the music industry were calling for a blackout in memory of George Floyd. What has happened? Everybody is aware of that terrible tragedy that has spun a turmoil across our nation, and we definitely want to be on top of that. We want to make sure that we are promoting a message of peace, that we are promoting a message of unity, and that is not a situation of violence. We're hoping that it doesn't become more of a situation of violence. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the blackout yesterday, was not to do a political stunt, was not to join any other cause other than honoring the memory of George Floyd, and to advocate for peace and to advocate for peaceful protest. Hear me? Peaceful protest. We are against rioting, and we are against looting, and we are against hurting other people, our fellow human beings. And we are completely against police brutality, and we are completely for making those people accountable. Some new charges were brought today in the George Floyd case, and everybody needs to just sit back, calm down, and try to let the process take its course. Legal problems like this and social issues, they take a long time to be able to resolve. And I want you to know that I am rooting for justice and peace and for the return of civility here in this country and also across the world. And hopefully this will become a the beginning of some major change for the better. Uh, the argument is that I believe that everyone should be treated equal, whether you are white, black, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever it is that your race, your background is. We all deserve to be treated equally, especially if we do something wrong and we are involved with the police. Shout out are all the ones that are doing their job correctly out there and that keep us safe. But we should all be treated equally. And I think that that's what the crux of the message is, that everyone should have the opportunity to be treated with respect and with dignity when we encounter ourselves in situations that involve um, law breaking or anything like that. Hopefully, you are smart. Hopefully, you are savvy and you are not involved in anything that is bad as far as running in problems with the law. But anyway, with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and give you the treat interview with Roger Mathews. Here we go. Roger, what's up?
What's good, Carlos?
Yeah, man, chilling, brother, man. Thank you for coming on my podcast, bro. How was
Thanks
your
for having
day?
me, brother. My day was good, man. You know what I did? I'm still in sea salt soaked sweatshirt. I was out on the water all day. We went all the way up to the Raritan Bay chasing stripers today, and we got skunked.
Oh, no.
I took the day off work and went out with my buddy. We thought we'd catch some tail end of the season stripers, and they were catching them a couple days ago, and there was nothing in the ocean today because we trolled forever. We bottom jigged. We did everything. We didn't catch anything, brother. So yeah, we spent the day on the ocean though, but it was beautiful. Honestly, I didn't have to catch anything to enjoy it. We had a good day.
Well, good, man. Listen, as long as you didn't catch the virus, you're good.
That's it, brother. Listen, I think we all probably, the vast majority of us, you, probably me, a bunch of us have had it and just never knew it because we're young and healthy and we're asymptomatic. So I think herd immunity is going to be the answer. Let's get America back to work. Let's protect the most vulnerable. You know, my 98-year-old grandmother shouldn't be out roaming the streets or in Walmart. She should be protected and kept away, and we shouldn't be out. But the rest of us, there's no greater killer than poverty, bro. No greater killer than poverty. And you're forcing America into poverty, and that a lot of people might laugh at that and be like, how? There's a lot of people that are paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people. Most of America is.
Well, yeah, most of us are.
Right.
And I amen to that because if we don't get back not only hunger, poverty, it encompasses so much. There's so many ramifications that spring up for that. Let's look at the third world, okay?
Right.
And we can't allow this country to become that. And I am with you, man. Eventually, we're gonna have to face this. All right.
We have a rhythm, right? There's a rhythm that America has. There's an ebb and flow to everything. Everything ebbs and flows. There's rise in employment. There's downgrades, but this is record all-time low, and it's been maintained and steady for going on 3 months now. And police will be the first to tell you, all the statistics are going up. Domestic violence is going up. Homicides are going up. Divorce is going up. Everything's going up. People are going stir crazy because they got nothing to do. And, you know, this is America. This is the United States of America. You know, I started really taking a large amount of umbrage and getting very annoyed when they closed our parks and beaches. If you can't go to the park and beach, man, you know, I get it. If there's a crowd of 50 people gathering, having a bonfire and getting drunk, then break it up. Then I get it. But if you're walking with your kids on the beach and the beach that I pay for, you pay for, and you're taking my ability away to do that, then this is becoming more and more like Nazi Germany, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, we can't allow that to happen. I'm a definitely big promoter of the Bill of Rights. And one of the reasons why I started this podcast really was to send out words of encouragement. If you hear a lot of my other podcasts, that's all I talk about is the uplifting, the upbringing of your spirit.
You've always been, bro. I've known you a long time. You've always been a very positive guy. So.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, it's been a while, man. We're closing in on 20 years, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Where the hell did the time go?
I've been here 24 years, and it was probably a good 4 years where I didn't know anything about lifting weights or join the gym. And I think I was here about 4 years, and I joined KS Fitness, and you were there, man. That's how I met you. You were at KS Fitness too. So
Yeah, that's right. And
yep,
you and Joey and
yep.
James and all the big monster guys over there, you
Yeah,
guys were
yeah,
just too
yeah.
big for me. I try to keep up with y'all, but all of y'all are like 6'5", six some. You know, I always wonder what my life would have been if I would have been 6'5" instead of 5'6".
More problems, bro. More problems. More
Yeah,
height, more problems.
especially with the ladies, I'm sure. So, Roger, man, thank you for coming on the DJ Producer CCM podcast. I really appreciate that
Yeah,
you're
man.
here, brother. And it's actually a treat to know you. And tell me, man, a little bit about your upbringing, man. Where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up?
I don't want to bore anybody. It's not that interesting of a story, but I'll just try to hit some focal points. It's kind of pretty well known, I guess, because I lived a lot of it out on Jersey Shore. But I grew up in Maine. You know what I mean? A small, tiny little town in Maine, little town called Cherryfield, Maine. Population of about 800. Let that sink in your head. 800 in the entire town. It might be around 1,000 people now, something like that. But back when I lived there, I think it was under 1,000. Um, Dad owned a little family business, a little oil company. Mom was basically she worked a little bit, but she picked us up at school every day, and very traditional American family. Small town living. Grew up hunting, fishing. Grew up on a lake with a camp on it, and yeah, and city life. I mean, to me, when I first moved here, not now, Tom's River wouldn't, but when I first moved here, this would be like city living to me. I didn't think would ever be for me, but I also knew small town living wasn't really for me either. So I kind of wanted to find the divide, and I didn't want to just settle down and grow old and never leave Little Cherryfield, Maine. So, my decisions were kind of made for me. My parents divorced. They were married for 25 years. My parents divorced, and my mom is a Jersey girl. My mom's from
So
Glen
go
Rock,
ahead.
New Jersey. Right? Yeah, baby. So she moved back here after they divorced. And my sister followed shortly after. I have one sibling. I have an older sister, 19 months older. She followed my mom shortly after. So my sister were down here for about 5 years, living in Tom's River. My mom had relocated to Tom's River, and my sister had a baby. My sister was in the military with a guy, and they had a baby. And I decided to come down to visit my niece. I was like, well, I got to go see my niece. So I came down, and basically, for all intents and purposes, I never left. I did leave. I went back and packed up a U-Haul truck, and then about a week later, I came back down. And then I've been a resident of Toms River, New Jersey for the last 24 years. And essentially, I attribute that to my sister took me out. I came down for a week. My sister didn't just have the baby. The baby was about 6 months old. But she took me out. We went to Seaside one night. We went to Philly one night. We went to the city, one night for dinner. And I was just blown away. I was a kid from a little town. And, the only other time I'd ever been down here was when I was a little kid to visit my grandparents in Glen Rock, but certainly didn't get to experience any of those things. So for all intents and purposes, it was kind of the nightlife, the availability to so many things and girls really that brought me to Jersey. And then lo and
Jersey.
behold, I ended up marrying a girl from Jersey Shore.
Well, the Jersey girls, man, that's how I ended up here. A Jersey girl that dragged me out here. Well, I came willingly, but now we're here. So yeah, man. So that is very, very interesting. You start at some point and you really don't know how life is going to come at you and what is going to
That's
be
it, man.
thrown at you. And then all of a sudden you're out here on the Jersey Shore, you're grown up, you're ready to go, and boom, you end up on the Jersey Shore show.
Big
How did
chances,
that come
man.
about, man? What was that like?
Uh, yeah, I've told this story before, but it came about very organically. It's nothing I chased down or ever dreamed of doing. We actually met, Jenny and I actually met before that show ever got picked up, before it was ever a reality TV, before a network even bought it, before it even had a name. They were just filming a pilot. And we met while they were filming that first season, but it wasn't sold. Nobody had picked it. MTV hadn't bought it. And we met while she was filming. She basically was just a hot girl that walked into Karma, and I was a regular at Karma. You were a regular at
Oh,
Karma with all my friends, and this hot chick walks in, and there was a film crew in the back filming. They were like out on the dance floor, and that's not uncommon. Back in the day, there used to be film crews here all the time. But this one girl walked in, and I didn't think she was part of it because she didn't have anybody around her. There was no security. There was no, and it was Jenny, and she walked in and she had a look. She was wearing basically a handkerchief, that's about all she was wearing. And I made eye contact with her, and my buddy said, bro, that's your type of girl. You should talk to her. So I was like, yeah, I will. And then when she walked right past me, we made eye contact. she went out on the dance floor, and then she was around all those cameras. So I knew she had something to do with it, and I was like, fuck that. I'm not, I'm a local. I'm not going to go wrap myself in that. Locals kind of stay away from that stuff. But I was with, you actually know him, Vasily Futurakis. You know
Yeah,
Vasily.
yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah,
with
yeah.
Vasily, and Vasily was dating this young girl who wanted to be all about that. So she went over and got her and brought her over. And then, along with her came all these cameras. And then that was season 1. So we really only hung out one night. That night, I walked her back home. Nothing happened. And then they came back season 3. And from season 3 on, it was all on air. That little meeting that we had the first night we hung out never actually made the air. But that's how it happened. Yeah.
Wow. The rest, as they said, is
The rest is
history,
history, baby.
right? So during this time between the season 1 and the 3, did anything happen between you? Did you begin to talk? Did the relationship
No,
develop? Or?
well, no, she wasn't allowed to, she's not allowed, nobody's allowed to have their cell phone while filming. Of course, after they get out of filming, but I'd met her while filming. So, I don't, honestly, I can't remember specifically, but I don't think I actually got her phone number. I do remember back in that time, we were talking on MySpace a little bit back and forth, but I knew she had a boyfriend. She was with Tom at the time. So, and I knew that. So it wasn't anything too crazy forward, but it was a little flirtatious stuff. And then when they came back season 3, one of the first things she said to me when I walked in the club and saw her again for the second time was, "What, you never got my email? You don't respond to my email?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she made me go on my phone and scroll back through my email. And sure enough, maybe like a month before that, she sent me an email saying, "Hey, look, I'm coming back to town. I want to hang out. We're going to." So I always say she stalked me. She was stalking me.
Well, she did end up marrying you, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so anything that you think that we can learn as young guys, well, me not so young anymore, but a lot of young guys out there clubbing and having a good
Well,
time
this
and
I
trying to
didn't
get
I didn't
laid.
make up the saying. I didn't make up the saying. I think Ronnie actually made it up. But the saying was, "Don't fall in love in the Jersey Shore." Right? That was the saying. That was a catchphrase for a long time. So I wouldn't. I'm not necessarily going to say that's bad advice, but I personally have no regrets, man. I've only ever been married once. I'll probably be the only time will ever be married, and I have 2 amazing children out of it. So there was a lot of good. Most people don't know about the good. Most people only know about the bad. They only want to capitalize and talk about the bad. But there was a lot of good. But the 2 best things, the 2 greatest things that ever came out of it were my 2 children. And because of that, I have 0 regrets. If I had to do it all over again, I'd do every bit of it again.
Of course, those precious little ones, man. They're awesome, dude. They're beautiful.
They're the best,
There's
man. My little guy just celebrated his 4th birthday, though. It was awesome.
nice. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And your little girl, she's so smart. Oh man, she's so smart.
She's gonna be my problem child. That my oldest, my daughter. She's a little firecracker. Grayson's pretty chill, but Milani, boy, she's a tough one. She's a firecracker. She got a lot of fire in her spirit, which is good. I'd rather have that than a little knee hugger that's scared of the world and scared to do anything. I'd rather, because I feel like I can sort of shape and mold the beast within, and she's never going to be scared. She's fearless. But if you got this intimidated little, I call them knee huggers, it's hard to change that personality and make them. So I just got to tone mine down a little bit.
Yeah, I
My little
totally
girl, I mean.
understand, man.
Yeah.
That's how they are, and it's amazing that relatives how far apart personality wise, and that's what you want. You want them to be individuals, to have their own reasoning, their own way of
Right.
thoughts. You don't, yeah, we want to teach them, and we want them those good things that we have for them to pick
Mhm.
them up, but we want them to be independent and free thinkers
Mhm.
and grow up, being smart, being independent, standing up for themselves.
Yeah, I saw a thing the other day. It had a little bit of an impact. You see something, and sometimes things resonate. And I saw something the other day that said the average child gets told no. Something like it was like 200 or 300 times a day, something like that. Gets told no. And what does that do to a child's curiosity and stuff like that? Now, I think some of those no's are needed. If your kid is getting ready to stick a fork in a light socket or an outlet in the wall, of course you have to say no. But I do think no is a little overused with children. I catch myself doing it, just saying no, 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 and I should just be like, "Fuck it." All she wants to do is, bring her toy in the tub. Just let her do it, And
Yeah.
so I try not to say no as much as maybe I used to. I try to let them be as free spirits as they can, but I still say no when I have to. Trust me.
Well, yeah, you say no when you have to, but I understand what you mean, that can create a negative image, a negative imprint internally in them and in the back of their minds, and that goes along with how society is that we're talking about.
I think
Everybody
it
just
just
tries to
kills it
focus.
kills like their adventurous spirit, right? If they want to do something and you're always saying no, then it maybe kills that spirit within them. They're like, oh, he's just going to say no anyway. So listen, most of the time, and I try my best. I'm an older dad, but when my kids want to do something, I try to go do it. When they like, let's go for a bike ride, unless it's pouring rain, I'm like, maybe it might not be what I feel like doing, but I'll try to do it.
Yeah, well, that's a good positive way to be, and that's very important because, like you were saying, people focus on the negativity, on the bad
Always,
things. Okay,
always.
and but there's so much good that we can focus on and do, and like I look at you and your relationship with Jenny and how you guys are with the kids, man. It's like regardless of how things might have gone between a couple, whether they got married or they were just together and now they have children, right? Once you have children, all right, it's like it's all about them. It's like you are removed, okay, from the privileges, okay, and from the selfishness, and to me, it's a testament your relationship with your children in relationship with his their mother. And you want to talk a little bit about that, man? How important it is, and how
Co-parenting has been going well, man. I mean, listen, we actually celebrated Grayson's birthday at Jenny's house. It's been going smoothly. You know what I mean? She gets them. We have an agreement, and we can choose to go outside of that agreement and work outside of that. And I can say, hey, if or Jenny could say, I'm going away. Can you take them this weekend? We have the freedom to do that, but we also have a binding, custody agreement that holds us to certain amounts of time that we both get to see the kids. But it's been going very smooth, very well. And that's the way it should be. I mean, if she's happy in her life and I'm happy in my life, which I am, that's the way it should be. It should be a smooth transition because it transcends down to the kids, even if it's just tension, even if words aren't said. Kids are little sponges. They pick that up, So yeah, I try to keep it my saying, man, my go-to. I'm actually coming out with a t-shirt line, bro. I'll hook you up. Coming out with t-shirts. My saying for the last year that I've kind of coined has been onwards and upwards. I just, no matter how much negativity, onwards, just march forward, and in an upward. It doesn't matter if it's a millimeter a day, but go in an upwards trajectory, onwards and upwards.
yeah, even if it's just incremental steps, we
Mm-hmm.
have to keep moving forward, man. And
That's it.
I didn't know about your t-shirts, man. So I guess that's a
Yeah.
new venture, new business. Let's talk a little bit about business, man. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing, work, business. What is your daily life like? What are you cooking up right now, man? Tell us.
My daily life for the last 24 years, as far as my career goes, again, speaking about negativities, a lot of people think I was just some freeloader living off Jenny. That was never the case. I've worked the same union job. I've been with the same Teamsters union for the last 24 years. I still get up every day at 6 o'clock and go to work. I took a day off today because I had a couple personal days to use, and I went fishing with my buddies. But so that's my daily grind, I call it. And then most of us Jersey guys do our side hustle thing, just like you're doing right now. We got to have a side hustle, right? Because it's expensive to live in Jersey. So, I do some endorsements. I got some endorsement deals that I do, some online stuff. You can see that on my Instagram. And my most recent venture, of course, is the Champ and the Tramp podcast with Frankie Edgar, UFC former lightweight champ, the answer, Frankie Edgar, who's a Toms River local as well. So
Yes, man. Well, I'm a fan of the show. I am
appreciate it.
subscribed, and I do watch the episodes, all of them.
I appreciate it, brother. We just
Okay.
filmed episode 23, so we're getting up there.
I know you guys have quite a few episodes, and it is
Yeah.
great, man. Champ and the Tramp. Let me
Yeah,
guess,
baby.
you're the Tramp.
I'm the Tramp. That name would only fly because I'm the divorced one. He could never be. He's still married, so he had to be the champ.
Dude, I love the bra, man. That's on the end of the
Yeah, yeah,
logo. Oh
yeah.
my goodness, it's so funny, man. Frankie Edgar,
Well, I
and
appreciate that, man.
it's because
Listen,
of
here's what I know, and here's what Frankie and I said from day one, literally. And Frankie will say the same thing. We never did it to be famous or to be millionaires or anything. Would it be great if it generated some money? Sure, it would be great. But if it never generates a dime, we're going to keep doing it because it's our bro out time. We get to sit in the basement for a couple hours and bro out. We usually drink a little bit of Jameson's or a bourbon or whatever, and we bro out for a couple hours. And it's literally just us talking and venting to each other, talking about, we don't really limit ourselves to a subject matter. Of course, because Frankie's a UFC fighter, we talk a lot about fighting, but current events. I mean, we live in a crazy time right now. So, of course, COVID-19 has been a big topic on our show, but a lot of current event stuff, a little bit about reality TV, since that's sort of my background. So it's sort of, open format on there with topics. But, yeah, we really enjoy it, man. We bro out. Sometimes I sit down there for an hour after we're done. We just bullshit. I'm like, we should have left the cameras on, man.
Yeah, right. So, listen, some of the best stuff sometimes comes
Yeah,
off
I
the
swear,
record.
some of the best shit, yeah.
And you're like, man, I wish I would have had a video camera,
Yep.
right? But yeah, no, that's why it's called a podcast.
Right.
It's you bring in topics and you talk
That's it.
about whatever is relevant, and
Right.
you can bring in whoever. You don't have to have a niche per se.
Right.
The
We
niche
try
is
not to
the
take
podcast.
ourselves too serious or acting like we're changing the world. We're two pretty regular Joe guys who come from kind of crazy backgrounds. He's a UFC fighter. That's not that common. I come from, reality TV, but I'm a normal day working guy too. And so we're kind of the odd couple in that. But we try to keep it light. We try to keep it interesting, and we try to keep it funny. You know what I mean? We don't take ourselves too serious. We're not there to report the news. We're not there to, give deep, in-depth commentary on political stuff going on. We're there to keep it light, entertain our listeners, and try to put a smile on people's faces. Keep it positive. So.
Well, that's very well said, man. And it is important that you have that frame of mind, and that humbleness about you guys, because you may not realize it, but I realize it, and the people that listen to you realize it, that the power of influence that you guys have, okay, it is the reach, all right, and it is very comforting, man, at least for me, because I'm also a regular guy that works, okay? You know me, man. I do the granite thing. I do the music thing. I buy and sell stuff online. I have like all kinds of stuff that I have going on,
I call it
right?
the Jersey hustle, baby.
And you have to, because you need different streams of income, to be able to make it.
It's expensive to live here, man.
So, we, as regular guys, I'm out there working, and I put on a podcast, and I'm doing my work, and I'm listening, and I'm feeding my mind, and I'm feeding my ears, my heart, with these things, different things. And I think that you also show the Champ and the Tramp is a great thing that you guys are doing. I am so glad that you guys launched it. And
hey, Carlos, for Carlos's listeners here, let me kick you a little walk through my kitchen. It's a little bit of a mess, but check this out, guys.
Here we go.
Check this out. Check out that backsplash right there. How's that look? How's that backsplash look, guys? Is that pretty dope?
Looks amazing.
Guess who did it? Mr. Carlos right there did it.
That's right, man. Granite Care Plus, baby. That's what we do. We do maintenance, restoration, repairs of granite, and we also do custom tile installations. And I'm telling you, man, I had been trying to get away from tile work for the longest time, because people knew me from the very beginning, since I came here to the Jersey Shore to do the tower. So the amount of customers have been unbelievable, right? And I've always tried to get away from it, because, I want to do some other things, but always something or someone always calls me back.
Well, you're good at it. You're good at it. So that's probably why, word of mouth. Sometimes you don't even have to advertise. If your work is good, word of mouth is everything. And, I knew you did it, but I'd kind of forgotten, to be honest with you. And Joe was like, when I was looking to get my backsplash done, Joe was like, Joe that we used to work out with was like, yo, Carlos did mine. Came out great, man. I was like, oh, shit, I've talked to Carlos forever.
So I remember it must have been like 2012. At some point, you called me a few years back, and I think you were living with you guys and Jenny were married, and you guys were moving in, and you were looking through your granite and your tile and stuff. You actually called me, and I told her, dude, I blew out my shoulder, bro. I couldn't work. I don't know if you remember that. And you was like, oh, man, because I had surgeries and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I try to back away. But backsplash and stuff is a little easier, so it's not as hard on your body as it used to be, But that's good, man. So let me ask you, man, how do you stay in shape so good, bro? What's your workout, man, and your diet?
I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I can sit here and lie to you and lie to your listeners, but I'm not much of a liar. In the last 2.5 months, I'm a pretty dedicated gym guy, and it's not because I love going to the gym. It's because I don't want to turn into a hot bag of shit, and I'm getting older. I'm 44 years old. I don't want to turn into a big bag of dough. So I've been really a dedicated gym guy for the last, God, 17, 18 years. I've been pretty dedicated to the gym, like just getting there, just at least 5 days a week, get there. The last 2 months, bro, I bought a pull-up bar and I've done a couple push-ups. I haven't done shit and I'm so out of shape, but I've convinced myself that it was good for my body. I'm lying to myself probably to take a break. When that fucking gym opens, dude, I'm going back hard. I
Yeah,
told
man.
my girl Danielle is here. And I don't want to say that we eat like shit, but we haven't been eating super clean. So we made a deal. We just made a deal actually a couple days ago because she's tiny. She's like 100 pounds. She can eat whatever she wants. She looks like she works out all the time, and she doesn't. She's really genetically lucky like that. But I'm not. So I said, listen, when the gym opens, I'm cleaning up my diet. I'm gonna lose the fat, and I'm gonna get back in shape. I wanna look good again, like I used to, because I don't want to be that guy all summer swimming in the pool with my shirt on. So she's like, can we just eat whatever on the weekends? I was like, no, I'm not just eating whatever on the weekends. I'll do Sunday cheat day. That's it. So we made a deal that she can cook whatever she wants on Sunday, and we can eat whatever we want. I'm not going to eat ice cream at midnight, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Sunday will be my cheat day, but the other 6 days I'm going to eat clean. So we just got to get the gyms to open back up, man. You know who I
Right.
talked to yesterday? I talked to John at
Oh,
KS.
Messina. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
talked to him.
Hmm.
He's chomping at the bit, man, to get it open, but you just can't. They can't break the law. They can't do it until they're ready. So
I know, man. There's I don't know if you saw on the news, there was this guy from Belmar. He's gonna open up Monday.
I,
Okay.
I, I, I personally, I don't know how you feel about that. I personally think those guys are setting the bar and setting the standard for true patriots. I do, because this is ridiculous what's going on now. You can go to a liquor store and stand in a liquor store with 50 people and buy liquor. You can go to Costco, you can go to Target, but the mom and pop organizations, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms, the regular gyms, the little hardware stores, the non-essentials, mom and pop restaurants, you're going to shut them down, man. They may never open their doors. So I applaud those people who are doing it and doing it to feed their family. I applaud them. I applaud them in every way.
Well, he
How
was
about the
talking
cop? How
about their
about Greg Anderson? Are you familiar with Greg Anderson?
Greg. Not
Greg
sure.
Anderson is he's a cop in Washington State, right? This is kind of all over the news lately. He's a 10-year veteran of the force, and he posted a Instagram video. It was about an 8-minute video where, in my opinion, he didn't say anything outlandish. He essentially said, he would call upon his brothers and sisters in arms to do the right thing. If you're being told to go into somebody's house and arrest them because they're doing somebody's hair or somebody's nails in their house to provide for their family, you're not doing what you're sworn to do by going in there and arrest that person. So he's just saying, please do the right thing. It was essentially, that was the gist of his thing. Well, it kind of took off. It kind of went viral. And at first, his higher ups, basically supported him and said, well done, that was a good post or whatever. And then they caught more heat from their higher ups. It just kept going up the chamber, up the ladder, and eventually it gets to the governor. Well, he's in a state where the governor is saying, no, you can't do that. And now that he's probably going to get fired. He's on administrative leave. Right now it's paid pending an investigation. And they're saying it was an insubordination charge. He's defying what the governor is telling him. I say that guy is a true fucking American patriot in every sense of the word, because he could have just taken the post down and had his job, put food on his kid's table, not worried about paying his mortgage, but he stood for what he believed in. And I believe if you truly believe in something, you got to stand for it. And what he said is not outlandish. There's going to be a bunch of people that are going to weigh in like, oh, people are putting people in jeopardy. No. First of all, do your research about this actual pandemic. Herd immunity is what's going to solve it in the end at some point. If you have a compromised immune system or you're elderly and your system is depleted, you need to do what you need to do to protect yourself. But there's a way to do that and let other people who are healthy continue on and work and provide for their families. There's a way to do it. There is, and if you're going to argue with that, then you better start asking your governor why he's allowing liquor stores to stay open during this pandemic, because that's the most absurd thing I ever heard.
Well, normally the people that argue against that, a lot of times they don't have answers. Okay.
Well, my belief is that they're sheep, right? A certain percentage of our population wants to be told what to do by an authoritarian figure. And I am not in any way saying I'm an anarchist. I am not an anarchist. I frown on anarchy. I believe that we need, government, and we need rule, and we need laws, and we need all that, but we don't need oversights of it and overages of it. You know what I mean? We are not. This is not Germany either. We
Oh,
we we the people should say it all. We the people founded this country, right? So when you start telling the people they can't leave their house, that's not social distancing. That's being giving a direct order to stay under house arrest. He didn't really say go ahead. He wasn't that outlandish with his statements. You should watch it again. He chose his words really well. And I'm not going to summarize an 8-minute video here in a couple of
yeah.
seconds, but for all intents and purposes, he called upon his fellow police officers to do the right thing, was essentially how it was worded for all intents and purposes, meaning you should not be dragging people out of their homes for cutting someone's
Yeah.
hair in your house, and or if someone's just trying to provide for their family, do the
Oh,
right thing,
yeah.
and your oath is to serve and protect, not drag people out of their houses like it's Nazi Germany.
Yeah, like that lady at in Texas, man. They threw her in jail for opening her salon, and
Dude, there's a
uh,
ton of them. There's a tattoo artist that
yep,
opened his. He said, "Look, I'm going to lose my house if I don't start working." So he opened his. They were waiting for him. As soon as he opened his door and turned the open sign on, they came in and got him. I mean, it's absurd, man. It's absurd. You know.
yeah. Well, a lot of people, man, they don't have money. They can't get through unemployment. You
That's
know,
my point. My point is there's no greater killer than poverty. There's no greater killer. It's the greatest killer, more so than any disease out there. Look at impoverished nations. People die of diarrhea in impoverished nations. And I'm not saying we're there yet. America's still the greatest country ever. But how long do you let it go on for? How long do you let it go on for? You know?
yeah, well, I think that you're right, man. Herd immunity is going to be the answer because if you take a look at Sweden,
Mhm.
that's pretty much what they did, man. They didn't even shut down. They just, they try to protect the elderly. They try to protect the vulnerable. That's what they did, and they
Mhm.
didn't shut down. They just went on, and
There's a
they're
couple of
fine.
different thoughts on it, and it's the CDC has swung on face masks, for example, numerous different ways. So it's kind of hard to understand, but there's a couple different outlooks on herd immunity. Like a lot of people say herd immunity is going to be the answer. A lot of people say, well, we can't just let herd immunity come in and just boom all at once because then the hospitals will get overrun. Well, okay, so protect the most vulnerable. Don't lock down the entire country of America. It's very likely you had COVID-19. You should go get the antibody test to see if you did. Because if you did, and I did, because I'm going to go get the antibody test, it kind of proves my point right. Because I
Yeah.
had zero symptoms, none. So I'm a healthy, young, relatively young guy who was not compromised by it in any way. Now, I shouldn't be giving it to people who could be, meaning you protect those people, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. I have to get that antibody test myself. I did get tested for COVID-19. I was sick, man. I was like couldn't breathe. I had a lot of those symptoms. Like, well, we're gonna have to face it. So, and my son lives with me, so I
Mhm.
took him with me. We both gonna go get tested, and we tested negative. So I couldn't
Oh,
understand, and they gave me some antibiotics, and it went
now
away.
that's an interesting story. Talk about that for people who haven't done it. Did you do the drive-through service?
I did.
You
I
did.
did.
Where? PNC?
No, it was at the. I had to pay for it actually because the waits were too long on
Oh,
the other ones, and bro, I could not breathe, and I
you
did not
tell me
want to go to the hospital.
you're telling me, Carlos, you're telling me that's not a scam. You're telling me
Oh,
that you had to go pay cash, hard
I
money
did.
out of your
Yeah,
pocket because so much fear was instilled in you in America that you could potentially have it
I
because it's a respiratory virus and you were having a tough, it could have been
man,
allergies that you had to pull money out of your pocket for
I
you and your
did.
son. And you're telling me that's not some sort of scam?
Well, that's what it is. I did a podcast about this. I had the video and everything, and this we went to one of those urgent care places, right?
Yep.
And because I couldn't feel anything, so they tell you can't go to the hospital, and I didn't want to go to the hospital, right?
Right.
Because that's the last. And I'm talking about this is like we are 2 weeks in the heap of it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I called my physician, and he said, "Go get tested." So I began to call. They gave me a couple of numbers, and nobody was taking any tests. I had to wait like 2 weeks to go get tested because there was a line. So I began to call private places, okay, that might be
Mm-hmm.
doing it. I finally got through one of the urgent care places,
Just I
clinics.
just want to pause you for a minute. The
Yep.
irony of this, the irony of this. So you called a bunch of, you're probably the first places that everybody thinks of. I'm assuming maybe like community, the local medical center, the local hospital. I'm assuming the surrounding ones. I'm assuming those would be my standard calls. They tell you it's a 2 week wait. Guess what the 14-day quarantine time is if you have it. So it takes
Yeah.
you 2 weeks to get in. If you had it, you'd be quarantined. You would already be outside of your quarantine days. It doesn't make any sense if you
Oh,
waited
dude,
for the time that they're telling you.
and you know, I finally was able. We went through the drive-through, and I called my doctor, and I say, you know, they're gonna give me the result, and then they made me wait almost 72 hours to get the result. Okay, this is in the very beginning, and I'm like, I can't breathe. Give me a Z pack or something, and they're like, we're not allowed to give out the Z packs, and I'm like, hang on a second. You're gonna tell me I'm like here, I'm like almost, you want me to go to the hospital, like I'm almost dying, and
It's
you can't
crazy,
give me a
man.
Z pack? And I didn't get into an argument with him, but I just began to like say, do whatever you can. And then they told me they were going to call me back, and I called them back like an hour, and they finally released a Z pack. I took the Z pack. 5 days later, I was better.
Fine,
All
right?
right.
Yeah.
But my greatest fear that it was like, it wasn't just me. And the reason why I was scared, bro, I'm telling you, it's not just because of me. Okay. If I'm not here, bro, my boy is on his own.
Right, right,
He's too young still. I mean,
right,
he's gonna be 17 soon, but at this point,
right.
he's still 16, and
Yeah,
he's lived with me. I'm a full time, single parent, bro.
right,
And it's
right,
like,
right.
if I'm not here, he's on his own. And bro, I was on my own when I was 16 years old. Okay, I
Yeah,
know what it was like, and that was my greatest fear. So, I a lot of people are so frightened, okay, of the virus. And yes, you don't, but we don't know what the ramifications of a person's life is like.
mhm.
You know, I didn't want to get separated because, you know, if they would have taken me to the hospital and they said you have to stay here, but you know, and they would have separated us, and then he can't go to his mom's, you know, because she's not around. So the state comes and takes him. So I was like, I don't want to. You feel me?
Yeah.
I
I
was
feel you,
like,
bro. And I say shame on the people that put that fear in you that you potentially, you had to go do that. You had to go through that shit because of the fear mongering going on and the fear that you had that potentially you could be taken away from your son. I mean, it's a shame because, it's highly likely, Carlos, that you could have had it. You didn't, you got tested for it, but it's highly likely that you or people like you, I say, could have had it and been completely asymptomatic and never knew you did. That's very
yeah,
possible. Many, many, many people did just that. That's why I want to go get the antibody test to see if I had it.
that's how do you know anything about that? Where to go or who to call or?
Basically, what you did, you could go to, like a outpatient care facility.
Right.
I believe maybe even my family doctor can do it. I think it's a kit you send out. They take, they stick the thing down your nose and they send it out, and the antibodies come back that you have the antibodies in your system. Then at one point in time, you had COVID-19. So I wouldn't go to a hospital either right now, but I believe my family doctor could do it, or possibly even an urgent care outpatient. You
Well,
know,
I'm jotting it down. I definitely have to get that done because it's
yeah.
important. You know, like you said, if we are
It's not
healthy
really
and
important, honestly. If you had it, you had the antibodies, and you're healthy, you're good. I'm just curious because it kind of backs up my point and my point of view. That's why I'm interested to see if I had it because I never felt anything but fine. Maybe had a little sniffle that I blamed for allergies. So
oh, well, the allergies are beginning to kick in strong right now
yeah,
because you know it's that season. But I do remember last year, like around November, bro, I was so sick with all those symptoms. Okay, and
hmm,
my son was extremely sick. But at that point, nobody was doing any testing, so
right,
we went to the doctor, and they tell you have some sort of viral infection. It's not influenza, it's not all the other ones, but we don't know what it is. It's probably just gonna go away. Is what they told us. Okay, and we got better. You know, went through the holidays and the whole years we were fine. But then it came back with a vengeance in at the end of March. You know, in April. But
yep,
luckily, hopefully, everything will be fine from now on. But I think it is very important, man. Your points that you were talking about to reopen the economy. I'm all for that. I know we have to protect people, but I think that is very very important, man. So
hmm.
Roger, man, I took in so much of your time, bro. I really appreciate you coming
I
on the
appreciate it,
podcast,
brother.
man. Uh, You want to send out a shout out message? Take us out, man. You got the floor.
Guys, obviously support, share, like, subscribe. Carlos's podcast. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being on here. Also, give us a chance, guys. Too, if you haven't heard of us, you haven't seen us. It's me and Frankie Edgar. He's an amazing UFC fighter, New Jersey scrapper. But our podcast is called Champ and the Tramp. We release every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Excuse me, I'm sorry, every Monday at 3 o'clock. And you can find us on any podcast format, and you can find us on YouTube as well if you want to have an in studio look, kind of like what Carlos is doing now. So we also have a studio set up to do that, and you can find us on YouTube. It's getting a lot of traction lately. It's doing really well. We're, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months in. We've got, I think, 23 episodes down, and we're keep cranking them out and keep grinding, and we ain't stopping. So check us out, guys.
Thank you so much, brother, for coming on the podcast. And uh, don't hang up yet. This is off the record. All right, and that's my interview with Roger Mathews from the Jersey Shore. Excellent guy. Very fun interview. He's a very funny guy. I known him for so many years. He's been a good friend. We have a lot of mutual friends, and it's amazing. You never know what life is gonna bring to you, how life is gonna come at you. And in this very, very difficult, troubled time, guys, we really need some unity right now. We need to come together. Um, Let me know what you think of the interview. Leave a comment, send me an email, send me a text message. I'm very happy to be doing this podcast. I wanted to be able to get back on radio for a while, and there's a lot of pieces that need to come together before you can do something like this. As you can tell, I am pulling it off all by myself. All the design is done by me. The sound is done by me. The camera angles, the interviews, the editing, the pre-production, mid-production, and post-production of this podcast is all done obviously by me, and I am not complaining. I'm enjoying every bit of it. I would like to hear your feedback. What do you think um, of the sound quality? What do you think of the video quality? What do you think of the images? How I'm putting it together? If you have any feedback on different things, I would really, really appreciate it. You can send me an email at info@partydropzone.com. If you would like to come on the show, let me know. If you're a DJ, a producer, a musician, a business owner, this is an open platform for multipreneurship. People that have different things going on in their lives, and that's what this is about. I want to be able to bring you in, talk about you, see what you got going on in your life. I am very, very interested, and a lot of people around here are probably very interested in what you have to say. You know, all the voices that we hear out there are from the media and social media and different people, and sometimes we need to hear each other. You know, sometimes we need to hear what a friend you haven't seen in a while, a person you haven't talked to in a while, what they have to say. Sometimes they have a lot of good things to say. They have good, great, excellent things to say. And this is what it's all about. You know, and this time right now, we need unity. We need positiveness. We need positivity. Positiveness. We need positivity. You know, I'm a very, very enthusiastic, positive person. I've always been this way, and hopefully I will always remain being like this. This is the time to come together right now. This is crazy what is happening. If it's not the pandemic, it's the riots and the racial divisions and things that are going on out there. And listen, everything that is going on with George Floyd and the riots, first of all, I do not condone violence, okay? I am 100% pro peaceful demonstration, okay? Peaceful protest, absolutely, just like the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Taught us. And really, I understand all sides of the argument. And what these people are asking for, when I mean these people, is the people that oppress minorities, especially the black community. They just want to be treated equally, man. You know what I mean? It's like if they get arrested, you get mass shooters and you get people out there killing and mass amounts of people, and you don't see them get beat up or choked or crushed like that, cut off the air supply. They arrest them and then they put in a police car and then they take them to jail. Sometimes they do beat them up a little bit, but for the most part, okay, they just take them. But what has been happening to our black brothers and sisters, man, it's like and all the minorities, you can't be beating people up like that, man. You can't like kill people like that. All right, and thankfully, the justice will be served for George Floyd and his family and everybody that suffered for this. People lost businesses. Some people got shot and died and killed because of the protesting and the rioting. And I understand the anger, but you can't be so angry at the police that you begin to take it out on everyone else and hurting other people. And like I posted earlier today, you have the right to defend yourself and defend your family and defend your property from anybody that's trying to destroy it, whether it's government or whether it's thugs out there looting, trying to destroy you. A lot of minority businesses have been hurt not only because of the COVID-19, but because they looted and they burned down their businesses, man. So we hopefully some stability would begin to prevail. And sometimes we can't depend on our leaders in government to take the lead. We have to be the ones that take the lead of loving people, spreading joy, spreading love. The majority of the people that I know, that I encountered, that are Generation X and after that, are not racist, are not prejudiced. This is why on one of my other podcasts that I did, and some of the videos, if you go to my YouTube at DJ Producer CCM, you will find some of my commentary. I truly, honestly believe that racism will die with Generation X as the baby boomer generation begins to go away. Because they're not going to be around for a lot longer. They got 20, 30 years at the most they're going to be around. And after that, Generation X is going to be the older generation at that point. And the majority of Generation X people that I know, okay, are not racist, don't have racial tendencies, and don't do that. So future days lie ahead. Yes, let's be active. Promoting peace and promoting peaceful protest and promoting change, okay, especially in the way our African American community is treated in the hands of the police. And there are so many good policemen out there. I have friends that are policemen, and they're excellent people, outstanding citizens. And we are all getting caught up into this, so things have to change. We are changing. I have taken a very good look at myself and how I want to raise my son to be, and we are 100% behind the African American community and every other minority that is looking for peace and that is a peaceful protester and are not destroying anything. And yes, change needs to happen, and it is happening. So with this, I am going to be out. You can join me on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live. I do interviews and I do commentary, and I will be back next week. I'm preparing next episode. I will be posting what the next episode is going to be about. I'm trying to bring in a couple of entrepreneurs on the show. I'm trying to bring in a couple of local business owners to come and talk about what is going on in their lives and in their businesses. And that's what I'm looking for. All right. I'm trying to be a positive influence on social media. I'm trying to be a positive influence in my community, and I'm trying to give back to some of the people, all right, that has given so much to me, that has supported me, that either played my music, that it's unbelievable. When I go on my Spotify and I check some of the people that do listen to my music, and you got people from all over the world, from Canada to the UK to Mexico to South America to Amsterdam, in the United States, and you know what? It is great. A lot of people that I know. They don't support me much. They don't post my stuff, or they might not give it a like or even comment. And I don't know why that happens, but there's a lot of other people that do. So I am not complaining. I'm just sharing love. I'm just sharing joy. I am DJ Producer CCM. This is the DJ Producer CCM podcast, and I will be back next week. And I'm going to leave you this with one of my new songs. It's called Interlink, the remix. Here we go.